Welcome to Uncaged. Today we're speaking with Andrew Palosi. So I get to step back into my old world today and talk a little bit about advertising technology. Andrew is a guru here in this space. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Ad Leverage, the Chief Executive Officer of Data Cube. He's done a lot of other very, very cool things in the tech space. And we're going to be talking about kind of how the ad world continues to evolve, continues to embrace certain types of technology, what's real, what's not. But before we get into that, Andrew, tell everyone a little bit about you and your career.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Awesome to be on Uncaged. Thanks for having me. I was always fascinated with advertising and marketing, right? So got a degree at a University of Texas, San Antonio, chased a girl to Southern California and started in radio sales
Mm-hmm.
and really cut my teeth on the Spanish radio side. And it was a small station with, some really awesome leadership. And after a couple of years there, they actually sold it off, which was, somewhat part of the plan. And I was fortunate enough to land on the general market side. I had kind of gotten my feet wet on the Spanish side and really wanted to, try to make the transition onto general market or English radio. And so
Mm-hmm.
was fortunate enough to do that and worked with Steve Harvey on his morning show here in LA.
Oh, wow.
And then went into sales management about a year after being at that station and did that for about a year and had the opportunity to work with a few clients that I've been working with for a while on all of their media opposed to just my individual station. And so I always loved helping them come up with new creative concepts and writing copy for them. And so it's a very natural kind of evolution where they were asking my advice on radio and TV and, creative promotional ideas. And so it was a very natural kind of segue, still very, very scary segue, but a natural segue into opening my own agency. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think I was 27 when I opened the shop. And when I say the shop, it was a bedroom in my house
Nice.
originally, right? So that was the shop originally, but just an unbelievable experience, from just dealing with my station, selling my station, to then really planning and buying and executing on all things, media and creative and planning for their entire marketing mix.
Yeah.
So we continue to evolve and by the time we hit about 6 full-time team members, my wife said, "This is insane that you have 6 people working out of our playroom. Get the hell out!" Right? So then we got the hell out, got some office space, and geez, that was probably 13 years ago at this point. And we slowly but surely started folding it all in-house. Production and the creative pieces, and put a studio into separate offices. And so we were then kind of ideating, creating, shooting, post-producing everything that we were putting on TV. And then the digital landscape was shifting so quickly. So really focused on growing, each and every digital department within the agency as well. And so that's kind of how we've evolved.
That's
I
amazing.
know one-stop shop is super cliche and overused, but that's what we take pride in being. So everything from, radio and TV and outdoor and direct mail, that's old and boring. We still use it very strategically as part of the mix, right? And
Yep.
then you have your paid media and programmatic and connected TV and OTV and all that good fun stuff that we do a lot of as well. And I think it's just about having the right team to build the right mix for what
Yeah.
the client is trying to achieve.
I love how, I listen to the story of your career and can see that evolution of, learning out about media, getting into the mix of it, seeing what customers need, building on to add in other media channels, building out the service capabilities, and then
Yeah,
really embracing technology to push it to the next level.
that's right.
And I mean, kudos to you. It's no small feat to build an agency, and a successful agency at that. But Andrew, I mean, tell me a little bit more about the latest with Ad Leverage. What are you guys up to?
We never stop around here, right? So we say
No.
we're blessed to be busy. So I think that one of the things that we've been working on for quite some time is a platform that properly marries online and offline conversion data, and is able to break that down at an unbelievably granular level. And a lot of our clients, the conversion may not happen online, so the
Yeah.
difficulty in tracking that conversion becomes substantial. So, first it's, how do we create seamless integrations to as many platforms as possible, because there are more platforms than ever that our clients are using. And then
Yep.
ultimately, how do we follow a transaction that may have originated online all the way through to a sale that was an offline sale, right? So I think that's been, kind of, a difficult conversation for a lot of our clients. And we're trying to bridge those gaps and utilize all of the necessary data sources that they're pumping money into on a daily basis, trying to bridge gaps that are
Yeah.
impossible to bridge otherwise, and trying to
Yeah.
do so at a very granular level. And so I think we're seeing some early signs of success with what we've recently built, and it's been a very fun process in doing so.
What kind of customers, Andrew, are gravitating to this type of solution these days?
So we do a lot in the home services and home improvement space.
Hmm.
And so when we're talking about, let's take HVAC as the example, right? Let's take a
Yep.
plumber as the example, right? Everybody looks at these guys and thinks it's some chuck in a truck that's coming in and just giving you a random quote on what it's going to take to keep your toilet running the right way or keep your AC blowing cold. And that could not be further from the truth in this day and age, Ben. So not only are our systems unbelievably dialed in terms of acquisition methods, lifetime values, things of that nature, but they're utilizing more technology and more training and sales presentation and options and profit margins. And they're so dialed operationally that it'll blow your mind. Right. So
Yeah.
we have individual locations that are, $250 million plumbing and
Whoa.
electrical locations. Right. And so you think that this is just some random guy stumbling in and that he's just gonna, get you fixed up and keep you moving. But there is a tremendous amount of science, data, training that is going into running these more enterprise level home services and home improvement companies. And so we
Yeah.
do a lot of work in that space, and that's the kind of the upper echelon of that those trades is where we focus.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, it makes complete sense to me when I hear it. It is one of those ones where you never think of it as being kind of an aggregated or scaled operation. But the reality is, in some ways, that's kind of the beauty of their business model. It gives you that flavor of the local whilst also using the power of scale to make it all happen. Tell me a
Absolutely.
little bit about your other operation, DataCube. How does that fit into this whole story?
So, it's actually kind of a perfect segue into it. One of our clients was struggling in being able to maintain real performance data throughout his organization as he scaled. And
Hmm.
so, this is a client that we've been working with for a couple of years at Ad Leverage on the agency side. And he came to us with a real problem of, hey, I'm driving myself crazy trying
Hmm.
to maintain line of sight into how the people answering the phone are doing and breaking down their performance individually, how the technician in the field is doing and breaking down his performance individually, how the installers are doing and breaking down their performance individually, and then really how that all ties back into not only operational excellence but in not having to have a separate data team to figure all of it out and pulling last month's data that may no longer be nearly as relevant to where you are today, right? So we heard that problem and we got to work on a solution that could focus on the key performance indicators for
Hmm.
every individual within the organization and really drill into what was going to lead to success or failure and pulling from multiple systems that were these indicators and then being able to maintain that in real time, which
Wow.
was really impossible before we automated the entire process, right? So started with that problem, got to work on what platforms do we need to pull from. So we build a separate kind of data lake instance in the cloud. We cross
Hmm.
compute between platforms, and then we're showing you in real time the performance data against their peer set. So
Wow.
it's in real time. You can slice the data any which way you want, and you always know who's doing a good job, who's not doing the best job, where they need training, exactly what they need to be a better performer within the company. So it's just
I love it.
unbelievably powerful and infinitely scalable.
Wow, that's great. Well, it's so great to see how, in some ways, this is one of the beauties I love about agencies and the service sector, which is one, I noticed that, people that thrive like yourself, you see these needs, you see these challenges that folks have, and you're a problem solver, right? He's like, oh, we can figure this out. We can pull this together. We can piece it together, and that's really exciting. It kind of keeps things fresh, and you can always see new ideas, and you're really kind of forced to constantly innovate. But I mean, Andrew, that's just my take on the space. I mean, you've been driving this thing since 2007. Tell me a little bit about what keeps that passion going for what you do.
Man, I think you hit the nail on the head, Ben. I mean, it's honestly, the ability to create something tomorrow that doesn't exist today. I mean, that's
Mm,
unbelievably exciting, right?
yeah,
And for me, that starts on the creative side, on the media side. The creative part of it can be fun, but most of our clients, hey, creative ideas for the sake of creative ideas are all for naught in their world. They need to drive
yeah.
sales. They need to drive opportunities. They need to keep people busy. They're trying to grow their business. So we walk that line of, hey, let's get creative, but let's ensure that we are moving the needle for our clients at the same time. And to be able to have an impact with a creative strategy and then a media strategy that allows them to continue to grow their business, that allows them to take care of more families, that allows us to grow together on simultaneous tracks and on parallel tracks, that's unbelievably exciting to me. Like no
Yeah.
matter how big we get, no matter how big the piece of business is that we're working on, I always tell our team, it's hey, when you become detached from the immediate impact that you can have on these families, we have a
Hmm.
real problem,
Yeah.
right? And so for us, it's all about problem solving, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's more efficiency in media, more efficiency in the mix, a better creative concept, that's all part of the same conversation of trying to solve their problems. And the more we can have real conversations, the more we can ask the right questions and be properly aligned as partners, the better problem solvers and the better partner we can be.
I love it. Andrew, 2024, here we are. What's on the docket for this year for you and the Ad Leverage and Data Cube teams, and what are you seeing in the market right now?
Great question, Ben. I think
Yeah.
that, we work across so many different verticals that's almost, there is no, I think change is the only constant, right? We're coming into a political year here, which is always scary for me.
And an Olympic year.
Yeah, well, that's a lot more exciting than a political year, right?
I know.
So
That's why I keep saying it. I keep on thinking like, oh, I'm excited to see that.
there we go. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, that's always chaotic
Mm,
because it's so unpredictable. And I think that anytime you're trying to navigate as an advertiser, that we're trying to help our clients navigate in political years, you have to be ready to be so unbelievably diverse and pivot so quickly, right? It's almost like, hey, here's our plan A. What's our plan B? What's our plan C? Because when things start getting really hot and heavy, depending on what type of political year it is, you better be ready to pivot and do so very quickly. Or, your
mm,
clearance, on certain media types, your clearance is terrible, so your results are terrible. And the clients still need to run campaigns and grow the business. That doesn't change. Their needs don't change because of political advertising, right? But
yeah.
our media mix sure does. So, it's for us, we equal parts kind of scared and excited because it forces us to think differently. It forces us to better understand what platforms we're going to lean into for more scale, right? To keep our clients on the right track with
Hmm.
deviating from what would be our primary mix. And so it's also an exciting time in that regard.
Going through that example that you highlighted before, these local service providers,
Yep.
you're absolutely right. That media gets hit hard with political ads. And certainly you and the team helping customers navigate that is this year is going to be absolutely critical.
Yep. And I
So
think
that is big news. Yeah.
Yeah, look, man, I think that it's nearly impossible for a lot of the decision makers within the companies we work with. If you have four or five 6 different agencies all vying for dollars in a political environment, it's very difficult to know what the right decision is, and you have to make it very quickly,
Yeah.
right? Where for us, I proclaim the beauty of how we're structured is that our job is to deliver. If
Right.
that's coming from paid social, programmatic, OTT, YouTube, Google, Microsoft, wherever that's coming from, our job is to deliver at the most efficient rate possible, right?
Yeah.
And so our clients rely on us, and we rely on our team of subject matter experts to have these conversations on a daily basis. Hey, what's the
Wow.
impact? How are we doing? Where's that scale? Where's the opportunity to grow? Right. And
Wow.
so it's a much purer conversation than going to your PPC agency and saying, hey, man, I'm really scared about the political year. What are they going to say? Hey, spend more on PPC. We'll be just fine, when that may not be what's best for the client.
So you're looking at the results that they need to be hitting, the lead levels, cost per acquisition, trying to make sure that that stays in a level that is copacetic for the business. I love it. I love it.
That's right.
Andrew, been great talking with you. If someone wanted to learn more about what you and the ad leverage folks are up to and maybe learn more about DataCube, where's the best place to find you?
I would say adleverage.com and datacube.ai.
Okay.
Just as they sound, ad with one D, um, is an awesome place.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I've really enjoyed the conversation. We've been speaking with Andrew Palosi. He is the CEO of Ad Leverage. He's also the CEO of DataCube, and we've been talking really about the evolution of media, the expansion of the use of technology, and really the sophistication of all types of customers, really, as they explore ways to build tighter, stronger, deeper relationships with their customers. It's been exciting to see what you and the team have been up to, Andrew. I mean, always a pleasure and exciting to see the growth of Ad Leverage. And we look forward to having you back on the show.
Man, I love it. Thank you so much for your time today, bud. Great conversation.